Bermuda, right in my eye line. To change the angle, I got up from my desk and sat down on my cot on the other side of the room. In a while, Farid and Ramanuj also joined us. The chart boy, according to the letter, was harassing Paritosh's Rakhi's sister from his science college days, an ex-Miss St. Joseph's Convent chick called Vinodini Khan, now in her third year doing English honors at Miranda House. The letter, which came with a group photo with Vinodini Khan's face circled in red felt tip pen, also gave the Jat boy's name and description. The letter implored Jishnuda in no uncertain terms to take care of the matter and save sister Vinodini's good name from getting besmirched. I dutifully looked up the meaning of the word in Pranjal's concise Oxford and read it out to the gentry. Hriday Babu, just like every door has a dwarpal, every chooth has a choothpal. A choothpal never gets the chooth, just like the dwarpal rarely gets to sleep in the master bedroom. Every good girl needs at least one choothpal, to run errands for her and listen to her bitch about her mother. Paritosh is a classic choothpal, a maha choothpal if there was ever one. But he's also a friend, so we will have to take care of the matter. Jishnuda said to us after folding the letter carefully and slipping it into his pocket. That very evening, Farid and I accompanied Jishnuda to Miranda Hostel on his ancient Rajdoot 175. I remember everything vividly like it was yesterday. The Jat boy was wearing a red checked shirt with tight flared black jeans, the kind one bought cheap from Tank Road in Karol Bagh. He had a cleft chin, a deep pumped up chest and shoulders fit for lifting sacks of potato. He was good looking in a wholesome, rustic manner, looked about 5 to 6 years older than me. He leaned against the iron railing outside the hostel, one stylish boot-clad foot on the lower railing, the other on the ground. A slim, pretty girl in a white chicken kurta with a red bandhani chunri was talking to him and once in a while ruffled his hair like a pet dog's. This was Vinodini Khan, the sister, and to all purposes it looked to me that she was harassing the poor boy instead. Jishnuda looked at the couple for some time, and after making sure that no white gypsy was patrolling the streets, he took off his glasses and handed them to me. Once in his first year, some boys from Siwan had attacked him in the Mansarovar PG hostel forecourt during Saraswati Puja. One well-aimed nunchaku blow had shattered his glasses. His left eyelid got detached. The upshot of it was that his left eye was now permanently lower than his right eye, and he became quite particular about taking his glasses off before a fight. There was no going back now. I watched it all from the seat of the Rajdoot parked by the gate of PG Women's Hostel across the road. The engine was running. Farid, the getaway driver. I was only to intervene if perchance the Jat boy fought back. No one ever did. The first reaction is always to run. When Jishnuda had asked me to accompany him as a backup, I had said yes immediately. Alone in our room after the Mandli had gone downstairs for tea at Mehndi Ratta's shop, Pranjal, after keeping the Oxford dictionary precisely in its proper place on his desk, pushed me up against the wall roughly by my neck. Do you really want to do this stupid thing? Are you absolutely crazy? Yes, I said truthfully and went down to join the others for tea and matti. I very well could have said no to Jishnuda and Ramanuj would have taken my place gladly. But it just never occurred to me. It seemed like a community thing to do, like a group of friends going out to see the night show at Batra Cinema. We saw Jishnuda walk purposefully towards the couple, the Astura gleaming in the orange glare of the street lamps. And as he reached the sister, he pushed her gently away and swung his hand from left to right and back like a wide X mark in a controlled arc. The boy looked surprised for a second and then covered his face as blood gushed out. Farid put the Rajdoot in gear. Vinodini Khan ran back into the hostel, the red bandhani chunri swirling in the air like a long-tailed kite. The local boy, whose name was Rajkumar Sangwan, didn't lodge an FIR with the police, but his family, we heard, was close to Sajjan Kumar. So, while Zorawar Singh Shaukin brought about a compromise, we went on a week-long pilgrimage tour to Haridwar, Rishikesh and Badrinath. We stayed in a small ashram owned by Zorawar Singh in Haridwar and each morning had a holy dip in Har Ki Pauri. Pranjal had reluctantly agreed to accompany us after much persuasion. Hardly said a word during the entire bus ride of 5 hours to Haridwar, preferring Naipal's company to ours. But on the first evening, as all 5 of us sat on the steps leading to the Ganga at Har Ki Pauri, with the aarti going on and thousands of diyas flowing past us swiftly, cleansing us all of our sins, Pranjal gradually came out of his blue period and even offered me a gold flake on the trek back to the ashram. He was all right after that. What a bitch, Jishnudas said to us while we were taking turns drinking neat from a half bottle of Old Monk right in front of the Theka at Kingsway Camp. Minutes after the Miranda Kand, the raging testosterone coupled with raw rum making us gasp. Should have done a bit of inquiry. Jishnuda finished the rum and then tried to bounce the bottle off the ring road. We could see he was intrigued by Naughty Vinodni. He had liked what he had seen in these few seconds. Like me. The thick shoulder-length hair with auburn streaks in it made by henna, the glowing methyl Brahmin skin, the color of freshly washed grain of wheat spread out to dry in the winter sun, and an ass. The size of it, just right for my hands to squeeze gently. About 10 days later, right after we were back in Delhi from a holy tour, unable to wait anymore, one evening, I my lucky North Star black denim shirt, black jeans, slightly flared, the exact same kind that Rajkumar Sangwan had worn on the fateful day, and walked briskly from Bungalow Road via Kirodimal Hostel on to Chhatramal, towards Miranda Hostel, to meet the sister. I didn't know what I would say to her once I was standing in front of her. I didn't care. It just felt like a grown-up thing to do, to call on a girl at Miranda Hostel. I had to see Naughty Vinodni once more. It was already dark by the time I reached the hostel. Across the street, I spied Jishnuda's black Rajdoot parked a little way off the Miranda hostel gate. Jishnuda leaned against the railing outside the hostel, one foot on the lower rails, the other on the ground. On his feet, I noticed, were Pranjal's prized power joggers. Vinodni Khan once in a while ruffled his hair like a pet dog. Anyway, one day, Pranjal and I came back in the evening after having bread omelette at Jai Jawan and found Jishnuda's room locked from the inside. A red bandhani chunri was draped over the thick glass window, giving it a stained glass effect. We decided it was better not to knock. Then, for weeks after that, Vinodni Khan would come over to Shaukin Niwas on a turquoise blue Atlas mountain bike and run up the stairs shouting "4" at the top of her voice, making all of us lounging in our underwear run for cover. In the evening, sometimes she would make coffee for all of us on Jishnuda's electric heater. A more life-affirming cup of coffee I am yet to imbibe. I would stand at the doorway sipping coffee, watching Vinodni chatter incessantly, pulling everyone's leg. And I would wonder, what does she ever see in Jishnuda? Who at the very moment was probably calculating the cost of the community coffee and whether he should charge us for it or not. But I was young then, and I didn't know that women always went for men who were totally unsuitable for them. On the other hand, there are things about men which only a woman would notice and appreciate, and which will always be invisible to the male gaze. The same perhaps is true for the female gaze too. I am like Amrita Shergill. I am polyamorous, Vinodni once told me after reading part of a story I was writing, in which the female protagonist I realized now was modeled on her. Then suddenly, one day she stopped coming to Shaukin Niwas. It was over between her and Jishnuda. A year later, after her graduation, she left for Magdalene on a Rhodes. Later on, she would come back to India and join the Indian Foreign Service. I once asked Jishnuda why they had stopped seeing each other. He looked at me in a bemused manner, and I realized then that he knew all the while that I had a massive crush on Vinodni Khan. He put a navy cut into his smile and said simply, "She was turning me into a chutpal." Thank you, everyone.
Listed for Man Asian Literary Prize 2009 and longlisted for the Jaipur Literary Prize 2012. Mr. Chaudhary has also written Diksha at St. Martin's and Patna Rough Cut. In 2007, he received the Charles Walls Writer in Residence Fellowship at the University of Stirling in Scotland. This year, Day Scholar was one of the 50 novels featured in 50 Writers, 50 Books, the best of Indian fiction by HarperCollins. We request Ms. Trisha Gupta and Mr. Siddharth Chaudhary to please come on the dais for their discussion on the book Day Scholar.
We've only just met like less than half an hour ago, so forgive us for if we have strange, repetitive, or awkward silences. Let me just start by asking you, tell me whether you began the idea of Day Scholar with a character or a plot or a milieu.
all three, I would say. The milieu, more or less, because I wanted to write about uh, the Bihari students in Delhi University.
Yeah.
Okay. I wanted to write about the Bihari students in Delhi University. That used to be a largish community back then.
Yeah.
I think it's going down now because it's getting harder and harder to come and stay in the university because the rents have gone
Right,
up.
right.
And a culture in the 80s and 90s, which was very much prevalent till the early 2000s. And I wanted to capture that, and it had dramatic possibilities. And I tried part of it in Patna Rough Cut,
Yeah.
because Ritvik and Meera, they are in Delhi University. Their love affair starts there. But it was more of a Patna book,
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
But Day Scholar, I wanted to write something more linear, more spare, and um, more, in a way, if I were to use a cinema metaphor, more neo-realistic, maybe shoot it with one camera rather than the Patna rough cut way of
Of the multiple characters and
multiple characters, multiple viewpoints, and
Right.
just talk it through Hriday Thakur's eyes, and try and do that. So, and also the character Hriday Thakur, I felt that if I had a character which was somewhat autobiographical in the sense that the trajectory I feel in every novel, at least what I write, is autobiographical. I then take off from that point.
Right.
So I wanted someone who is a bit naive, who is a bit stupid at times, but also has his heart in the right place. So he's Hriday Thakur, and that's why the name. And also someone who wants to be a writer and who is never going to shy away from life, whatever it throws at him.
yeah.
So, but in the end, I felt that maybe he would have to make a choice somewhere, whether to be bad, whether to be good. So that's one of the themes of the book.
Right.
That's one of the, yeah.
So let's maybe one thing we can begin with, since you say it's all three that, and for me the milieu in some sense was perhaps the greatest first draw.
Yes, yes,
And
yeah.
but milieu, I mean, as I say the word milieu is probably not even the right word, because milieu is sort of like something within which a book is set, and you sort of have this really intense sense of detailed local geography very often. You know, like you have an account of following the St. Joseph's Convent School bus, and it sort of literally like traces this, you know, it's like from Kadam Kuan towards Gandhi Maidan, you know, to do this and that, Mona, and what is the other cinema, the twin cinemas? Elphinstone. And so, you know, like where the road turns and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Or the other more serious bus ride that comes in Delhi with Anjali Nalva, who is Hriday Thakur's sort of first serious love affair, which is on the 901 bus from Zakir Hussain College to North Campus. And, you know, so I was wondering whether...
It's actually from Kamla Market to Mangolpuri.
Oh, so with this part, the return journey from college.
Yeah, it's the return journey, because Kamla Market is near
Zakir Hussain,
Zakir
yeah.
Hussain College.
Oh, right. I'm placing it in terms of where
Yeah,
they are coming
right,
from. But yeah,
right.
no, you're right. Of course. Kamla Market too. Kamla Market too?
Mangolpuri.
Mangolpuri.
Y block.
So yeah, so I was wondering whether this kind of really kind of detailed geography sort of, does it ever seem to you like this is constricting in some way? Whether you have people, do you have more people who come in reading your books who know this geography very well? Or do you have the others who are sort of introduced to it and
Well,
may completely not?
I'll tell you what I'm worried about. I'm never worried about people who know less than me. I'm always worried about people who know more than me.
They'll catch you out.
they'll catch me out. So they'll catch me out, and so I have to be very particular. And I feel in fiction you have to be more particular. But of course, it should be done in a certain way that it's, does not impede the flow of the narrative. But you do give information and set up, places. And I do, but I never do research in that way. I usually write it out and then kind of go back and see if what I have written is actually right or not. So it's more of
You mean
that.
you sometimes return to the place itself?
Never return to the place. Never return to
Yeah,
the place.
but
I can probably write about a place without ever going to it. The thing is that you have to make the reader believe it.
yeah,
The place is there.
Yeah.
And the place is like that.
yeah.
And then kind of see that you are 80 to 90% right.
Right. So, but these are all places that you know, and you mentioned yourself that these emerge from autobiographical sort of journeys. How much would you say Hriday Thakur? I mean, this is an obvious question, but it must be asked. Is you? How much is Hriday Thakur you? Or earlier, well, but let's talk about Hriday Thakur since we're on Day Scholar today.
Well, like I said, the trajectory is autobiographical. I came from Patna to Delhi University for my graduation. I went to Zakir Hussain College. I wanted to be a writer. So all these things are autobiographical.
Yeah.
But did the events take place in a certain way? Did they actually take place like that? Not really.
Was there a Zorawar Singh Shaukin?
There is always a Zorawar Singh Shaukin
Yes.
in this world.
Yeah.
And there are many Zorawar Singh Shaukins.
Yeah. But so, I suppose the question from Zorawar Singh Shaukin is, I mean, for people who haven't read the book, I mean, he's an exceedingly colorful villain, but he is a kind of villain. And yet the book is always, I mean, that's the thing about Siddharth's writerly voice, that it's never quite built up as, oh, here's this terrible person. We're reading about him, and in the way that Hriday Thakur is sort of discovering this world and is almost kind of spellbound by it until very late in the book, kind of not approving, but not quite condemnatory from the word go. So I was wondering this question of how you deal with this sort of